everyone. Right now I'm going to show you how to do challah bread and a 6-strand braid. Okay, so this is in the yeast bread packet. The recipe is located there. All right, first off, we have 1 pound, 4 ounces of bread flour, also 21 ounces bread flour. I have 8 ounces of water. Okay, 8 ounces of water. 0.4 ounces of instant yeast. We have 4 ounces of egg yolks, okay? We have 1.5 ounces of sugar, 0.13 ounces of malt syrup. We don't have malt syrup, so you could use the honey that's included in your lab kit. Okay, salt. I have 0.4 ounces of salt, or 2 teaspoons of salt. And I also have 2 ounces of vegetable oil. We are doing the straight dough method, which is basically all in one. We're gonna mix the yeast first with the water. Let me move these things out of the way. Let me get this sheet pan out of the way. Okay, you're gonna get a large bowl. All right, you want to pour in your water first. Okay, sprinkle your yeast right on top. I like to hydrate my yeast. Doesn't matter if it's instant. I know you could add directly your instant yeast into the flour, but just to make it a habit, I just like to hydrate it. Okay, then I will add basically all the other ingredients. You always want to add the salt after you add the flour, just so the salt doesn't have direct contact with the yeast. Okay, I am going to add the sugar. Okay, the oil, egg yolks, malt syrup, or the honey / malt syrup. Let me get a spatula here. Okay. And the little bit of honey. Okay, you might be wondering why there's oil in this bread. It makes the bread softer and a little bit more luscious. Okay, add the flour on top, and then I'll just add the salt. Okay. Then with a spatula, I am going to just mix this together till it comes into a shaggy dough. It's a huge batch. This is gonna make a huge 2-pound challah loaf. You can also divide it into 2 and make 2 1-pound loaves, which is ideal. But it's okay. I'm gonna make a huge one. Put the spatula here. Get your bowl scraper. Okay. You want to mix this quick enough that the flour gets hydrated. Okay. Oops. Try not to make a mess. Okay, I'm just going to start working it in this bowl till it comes together, then I'll start working it on my bench. Okay, when you do challah or any braided rolls, the dough should be stiffer, a little bit stiffer than a soft roll. Because if it's too loose, you won't be able to see the definition in your bread. All right, so far so good. Looks a little shaggy, but that's okay. We're just going to work it. Okay? So when you're kneading, you want to pull it towards you. Try to get all the stuff out of my hands. You always want to have a little bit of flour on the side just in case it starts to stick. Bowl scraper and a bench scraper just in case it starts to stick. If it sticks a little bit, you want to add a little bit of flour. Scrape off the excess. Let me clean off my hands a little bit. Okay, get a little bit of flour in your hands. Rub it. We call this baker's soap. So get all those dry bits off your hands so you can knead a little bit better. Okay, I know this kind of looks gross, but I just want to show you what you can do. See how the flour takes it off your, takes the bits off your hands? Then take your bench scraper. Don't put this into your bread. That's disgusting. So we want to throw that away. Get it off your workbench. Okay. You want to knead this. Pull it towards you, push out. See how it looks a little shaggy right now? We're going to work it till it's nice and smooth. About 8 minutes by hand. Okay. 5 minutes by hand. But I'm gonna do, I think I might just fast forward the video if it's too long, or cut it out. Okay, so if it starts to stick, I like to scrape off a little bit off the bench. If it starts to stick, it'll be sticky at first, but once we develop the gluten, it'll start to pull off. It'll start to come out. If you have sweaty palms or you're nervous, it'll start to stick to your hands a little bit more. What you want to do, just wash your hands, relax, take a deep breath, and start over. Okay? See how we didn't add any flour yet? But it's a little sticky still. But I'm just going to work it because I know that it will come together. Oops. I put a little anti-slip mat underneath this cutting board. But see, it's sticking a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of flour. I could also do this directly on my countertop. So that might be a little too much. So get some elbow grease in this. Just that little bit of flour. You don't want to go crazy with flour. You didn't see me spread it on the bench like normal bakers do. That's a lie. We use flour as minimum as possible. Okay, see how it's coming together? It's getting smoother. Less sticky. We're developing the gluten structure. A couple more minutes of this. And then we shall do the bulk fermentation. Okay. Just keep on going. I think it's almost good. So it's not sticking anymore. It should feel a little tacky, cold to the touch. I like to say it's like a clammy forehead. That's the feeling of it. Cold, not sticky. Okay. I think it's good to go, okay? Once you develop the gluten, you'll do a window pane, but you can't really achieve a huge window pane when you're mixing by hand. If you have a mixer, go ahead and use your mixer, but if you do yeasted doughs in your KitchenAid, you're more likely to mess up the motor. You might as well just, get some frustration out as you're working this dough. It's very good stress relief. Okay. Looks good. So far, so good. I could stretch it. Maybe just one more minute. Think it's good to go. You want to make it into a nice ball so the carbon dioxide stays in the dough. So you want to just tuck it. Or also roll it on the bench so it's nice and tight. There you go. Very good. The gluten development. You want to take a greased bowl. I'm just using the bowl that I had my flour in. You could put a little bit of oil. You could spray it if you have some pan spray. But I had some oil left over from the little container that had the oil for this recipe. I'm going to oil the bottom, spray the top. I'll wrap this with, A little bit of plastic wrap. Okay, this is the trick here. You want to bulk ferment this until it doubles in size. Okay, how do we know when it doubles? Good indication of when to know it doubles in size is see how big the dough is. I will draw a circle looking on top. I will draw a circle around the dough. And then I'll put the time, whatever time it is. Let's see what time. For me, it is 7:17. About an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, it should double. So you'll see, time indication about an hour or so, or depending on how warm or cold your house is or your area, you just want it to double a little bit outside of the circle. Okay, so I'm gonna let this sit and then I'll come back and show you what's next.